Welcome to the Holy Shhh Podcast, AEW Dynamite post-show for September 11th, 2024. It's your boy ABE from DET, and anytime and every time we mention September 11th, we have to stop for a moment and give our deepest condolences to those lost in a tragedy years ago. That day will never be forgotten. It will always be remembered, and God bless the families who were affected on that day in New York City. But let's bring a little cheer to your life and talk about a damn good AEW Dynamite. Now, I don't know what's been going on. People want to give me a lot of crap for talking about AEW so in such a high regard. But if you go back to my old AEW Dynamite post shows, I was burying them for months and months and months. But the past 3 months, if you have been a constant watcher of this program, you feel the difference. It feels like somebody's taken over. There's a new writer involved. The last 3 months have been solid, quality storyline telling. The matchmaking has already been there. The wrestling moves, the matches, the athleticism, it's always been there. But the stories are becoming top tier. And it started with one hell of a story that has, if you are a fan of this show, you have to be on your edge of your seat for what's going on with Jon Moxley and watching all this play out. But Jon Moxley started the show by saying he had to do what he had to do to Danielson because he's sick of all the egos in the locker room and change has to happen. And he doesn't believe that Danielson has the moxie, no pun intended, to do what it takes to make the change. So therefore, he had to be the one cut from the group because he can't stomach what has to be done next. Moxley declares that things in AEW have to change and the time for diplomacy is over. It is time for war. I thoroughly believe that something big is happening here in AEW. Tony Khan has been mentioning this shockwave, something big happening, and I do believe whatever's coming is tied tightly to Jon Moxley. A lot of people want to make it seem like the EVPs and Kenny Omega, they are the heart and soul of AEW. But if you've been watching this from day one like I have, the heart and soul is Jon Moxley. So whatever he is building, you need to keep a close eye on it because I believe him when he says this is going to shake up the foundation of AEW. Could it be these Shane McMahon rumors? I don't know. I'm not about to speculate. I'm about to sit back, buckle my seatbelt, and enjoy the ride. This is what we've been talking about. Give us a storyline. Give us something to sink our teeth into. We are getting it right here in Jon Moxley. So stay tuned. Something big is coming. I guarantee you it. But next up, Christian Cage comes out praising Kill Switch for staying by his side and sends a warning to Danielson that he will be cashing in his contract sooner than later. And when he does, he will be the next AEW World Champion. And there is something in my soul that believes this man. If it ain't Hangman, for sure it will be Christian Cage. It's just, he's been on a hell of a roll. I know all the WWE fans, you love him as Edge and Christian. You think that was the greatest time of his career. But I'm here to tell you, he is in the greatest time of his career right now. What he's doing with the Patriarch, his new persona, and his fatherly figure, it is absolutely top tier, amazing. And the only thing that I could imagine being rewarded for a great effort that he's doing right now is a world title reign. So I would not be mad at it. A lot of people say, oh, Christian Cage is an old WWE guy. No. This is a brand spanking new Christian Cage. He was nothing like he is now in AEW. And I'm not mad at all, not one bit, if they decide to make him the next world champion. I'm all for it. Next up, the scapegoat, Jack Perry, defeats Lio Rush to retain the TNT Championship. He pulled up in the black scapegoat van, dark and menacing, went right to the ring, got the job done, went right back to the truck and took the hell off. I'm absolutely loving Jack Perry right now. When he came in, he was the Jungle Boy. He was a joke. He was a gimmick. He was just a character. Now, this is totally different. When they say he is one of the pillars of AEW, I believe that wholeheartedly. Jack Perry is doing an amazing job. And shout out to the match him and Lio Rush had. Lio has not lost one step. You know, he's in this gimmick right now with, I think they call themselves the Flight Club. It's okay. But Lio Rush needs to be on his own. He's that great of a talent. Seeing him mixed together in this group, I'm not feeling it. But if this is part of his punishment, because as you all know, he left AEW on bad terms, calling Tony Khan somewhat of a racist. But he's working his way back up. Maybe he's working his way back into good graces. And to do this, he's got to be a part of this gimmick, put some of the younger guys over, and just, pay his dues. I'm all for that. But Lio Rush still has it. Top tier professional wrestling by these two men tonight. Next up, we got Hangman Page is backstage with Renee, and he's explaining that now that he is finished with Swerve, do not think for 1 second that it is over. All the people who made him wait, be patient to get his hands on Swerve. He's going to find them one by one and make them pay the same exact price Swerve did. As he walks off with Renee, he runs into the Dark Order. They look at him like in disgust, like, we don't even know who you are anymore. He walks past them, runs into Double J, Jeff Jarrett, who confronts him about the words he said to his wife and said that he's going to have to pay for it. I think Jarrett was talking about in the future, but Hangman was talking right now as he swings on Double J, lays him out, and walks off a bad man, wanted by all in AEW. Hangman is on absolute fire. With MJF gone, now your biggest heel is gone. You got Hangman to come right in and fill his spot. When I mean AEW is clicking on all cylinders, all bases are being covered. When one storyline ends, another one comes. When one guy leaves, another one comes. When you finish one match, you know who's the guy's going to next. There is clear direction in this company. I do not know who has their hand in this, but this is not the same booking that we've been getting all year. This is a clear difference, and I'm absolutely loving the direction that they're headed. Cannot wait to see what is unraveling, because I feel it in my core. Something big is happening with AEW. Just their momentum, storytelling, their precise attention to detail. This is not the same show we were watching at the beginning of 2024. Great work, Tony Khan. Next up, though, Private Party and Commander comes out for a trios match. But before the match can even start, Moxley, Pac, and Claudio and Marina come down and clear house. And they reiterate what Moxley said earlier, that diplomacy, let me get my words right, is over, and it's time for war and change here in AEW. I love that they gave Pac the mic. They let him talk. This is not just Moxley's idea. With Pac talking, you can feel his imprint being put on this storyline as well, and I like that. Give us multiple personalities, not just one leader. Moxley and Pac are letting you know something big is coming. And the funniest thing that I'm loving about this whole Moxley new group is Marina Shafir. When Pac was talking, half the time he was talking, she had Commander sleep in this chokehold and she just would not let go. She was just sitting there calm and menacing. She reminds me of China. Not with the muscles and all big and all, but she seems to be the bodyguard, the enforcer, the Jacob Fatu, so to say, of this new group. And I'm believing it. Even though she's a woman, it doesn't matter. We all know she is a judo champion. She can fight. She can throw down in real life. This is not just some story for her. She can kick every woman in the locker room's ass if she wanted to, and I'm pretty sure half the men. So Marina is playing this role to the T. Her in this puzzle is fitting perfectly. I cannot state it enough. I don't know where they're headed, but I am along for the ride. Next up, though, we got Ricochet. He defeats Sammy Guevara. This was a hell of a match. I was afraid for Sammy. He went to the at the top entrance ramp where they got the AEW entrance where the wrestlers come out. He climbed to the top, did a back moonsault. I was praying, please don't get hurt. You just came back. He was holding his leg, but clearly he was okay. The match continued, but Sammy, you got to slow down with these wrists, brother. We need some agents in AEW. Now that you guys are taking off, we got to protect these wrestlers because they are becoming true assets. If they go down, you mess up your story. Let's take these moves serious. I'm down for the extreme. This is what makes AEW. You guys push the envelope, but just don't go too far. You are reaching a very valuable territory, and every character is needed to keep all this rolling. But like I said, Ricochet gets the win over Sammy Guevara, and afterwards, one of my newest favorite wrestlers, Morta, comes down, attacks Ricochet. Sammy Guevara, you think he's about to turn heel, but no. He stays babyface, grabs the chair, and helps Ricochet, makes the save. But clearly, we are getting Morta versus Ricochet soon, and that will be one hell of a match. A bruiser high flyer versus a natural high flyer. Sign me up, whether it's going to be Collision, Rampage, or even if they want to put it on Dynamite or Grand Slam coming up, I'm all for that match. Next, though, a match that I'm looking forward to more than anything. Takeshita is backstage with Don Callis, and they confront Okada to say, you won the match at All In, but you did not pin Takeshita. Okada goes on to say, Takeshita will be a champion one day, but not the Continental Champion. He walks away, and then in his also Okada way, comes back, looks at Don Callis and says, bitch. That sets Takeshita off. He faces off with Okada, and just that look, Okada versus Takeshita, I said it last week, I'm going to say it again, that is a storyline made in heaven. If you watch New Japan, if you're a fan of that strong style, this match will be one of the greatest in AEW history. I cannot wait. But next up, this seems like I'm just talking about Moxley and his whole crew, but well-deserved. This is one of the hottest, not as Swerve and Hangman is over. This is the newest, hottest storyline on the block. But Darby Allin comes out and calls out Mox, says, come to the ring. He comes to the ring. Darby tells him, I used to look up to you when I first came into this business. I didn't want to be like the other guys. I wanted to be like the rebels. And you were the biggest rebel of them all. I patterned my game around you, and I wanted to be just like you. That was until you backstabbed your best friend, Daniel Bryanson, and laid him out. And I don't want nothing to do with that at all. Moxley goes on to say, I respect you, kid. And I know you got a world title shot coming up, but that's why I want to talk to you. You're not ready to be champ. You weren't ready then. You're not ready now. So hand over that title shot to me, and I'll go on and win the world title because there's something brewing here bigger than you, and you have no clue what's coming, but I need to be world champion when it does. Of course, Darby Allin doesn't just hand it over. That's not his style. But he does say, if you want it, come get it. That prompts Moxley to say at Grand Slam, Darby Allin, Jon Moxley, the winner is the new number one contender to fight Daniel Bryan for the Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Title. One day I'm going to get that name right, but Daniel Bryan, you know what I mean. I say it every week. I mess it up every week. Who cares? We know who he is. But I keep telling you, Moxley is hinting at something. They believe in Moxley. When things are going bad with CM Punk, they had to put the title on somebody. They trusted Moxley with that responsibility. They've got these new contracts coming up, new TV signings. They're trusting Moxley with the responsibility to be the main storyline. Something big is coming. But Darby Allin, Jon Moxley, I said it with Sammy Guevara earlier. Please, Lord Jesus, Tony, don't let them do crazy shit. We need both of them healthy for whatever's coming. This momentum you're on, the last thing you need is for Moxley or Darby to get hurt. Pray for these guys. This match will be absolutely insane. I just pray everybody makes it out in one piece. And once again, in the ring, Marina just standing there. She's looking at Moxley as Darby's getting a little snappy with him, like, give me the word, boss. I choke him out. Give me the word, boss. Marina Shafir, my hat's off to you. You are doing an absolute amazing job as the enforcer of whatever this is Moxley is building. Love it. Next up, Mariah May defeats the Queen and retains her title. No, I'm not talking about Charlotte Flair. I'm talking about the Queen, Aminata, who has been on a hell of a tear. I love her rise as well, another character that they're developing. But she's not ready to be no world champion. So yes, Mariah May gets the win. And afterwards, she grabs the mic and calls her old friend, Shirakawa, to come back to her side and help her on her AEW title reign. As you all know, it was a big fight over Mariah May between Shirakawa and Toni Storm. Toni Storm won. Shirakawa said she would stay away from anything going on with the two of them, but it seems like Mariah May is calling her back to her side. I don't think they're going to be a team, though. I think this is a match we got coming soon, very soon, and I'm all for it. Next up, though, we got the Learning Tree. They defeat some local jobbers. It was a squash match, but afterwards, he stirs up the pot with a feud with Orange Cassidy. As you all know, Orange Cassidy years ago messed up his $7,000 white Italian cut jacket, and now he wants his money back for it. He steals Orange Cassidy's bag. In the bag, it was a picture of him and his old best friends, and he's trying to mentor Orange Cassidy just like he is Big Bill and Brian Keith, the bounty hunter. He's telling him, you don't need friends, you need guidance. I don't know if this is Orange Cassidy possibly going heel, turning with Jericho, or just a feud in the future. But either way, we need filler stuff like this. It's a lot of hot stuff going on. You need Jericho to come in, spice up some things in the mid-card. So I'm all for this Orange Cassidy-Jericho feud. If you know in the past, I wasn't all for him and Hook, but I was wrong. That turned out to be a good development. It rose up Hook. It rose up Big Bill. It rose up Brian Keith. And I'm not going to make the same mistake. I believe in Jericho, one of the 4 men on my Mount Rushmore, that he has something in store to rise Orange Cassidy as well. Next up, I don't know what the hell this segment was all about. You know, I like wrestling. I watch AEW. I watch TNA. I watch WWE. I do a little New Japan, but I'm not well versed in all the other things. And Nigel McGuinness seems to come from that area. He comes out and says he's talked to Tony Khan, and Tony Khan has offered him a shot at the world title. Why, I don't know. But it seems like he will be fighting Bryan Danielson at Grand Slam for the AEW World Championship. We all know at All In, he came out in the Casino Gauntlet match. It was a hell of a pop. Like I say, there's people that love Nigel. I'm just not going to sit up here and act like I'm hip to what's going on. I'm not. To me, this looks a little weird. So if anybody wants to jump on Dynamite tonight, criticize something, I mean, I'm all for criticizing this segment. This made no sense. With Moxley, Darby, all type of contenders lined up, Hangman, Nigel, a commentator? I'm clearly missing something, so forgive me for not being a diehard fan. But Danielson is an absolute pro. I like Nigel wrestling. His moves is still clean. He still got it. So this should be still a hell of a match. Although there is no chance in hell Nigel beats Danielson for that title, I still gonna watch it. Next up, though, in the main event, the Tag Team Casino Gauntlet. It was a little bit of everybody out here. We had FTR out here. We had basically every tag team you could think of in AEW in here. And what do we get? A makeshift tag team that was just developed tonight. I give WWE shit for just putting that together tag team. So I'm going to do the same with AEW. I'm going to have a fair playing field here. They just put Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay together. I know they best friends. I know they got personal history. But I like tag teams who've been tag teams to represent the tag team division. And as we all know, Ospreay is the hottest thing on the block. So clearly that's why they gave Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay to win. It will be Kyle versus Kyle and Ospreay versus the Young Bucks very soon for the AEW Tag Team titles. Will this be a great match? Yes. Will I be entertained? Absolutely. I am just a purist when it comes to this tag team wrestling, and I like guys who've been together, stay together, work their way up together, and then get a shot at the title. This was literally put together at the beginning of the show, and now they're the number one contenders. Will it be a good match? Like I said, yes, I'm just not all for it. I believe somebody else deserved that. Maybe I would have rather even had FTR get the rematch. Will Ospreay could have went on and done something else. I don't think they're going to win. I don't think Kyle and Will take the titles. But if they are planting the seeds of them two turning on each other, that is a direction that I'm looking forward to. So I might be wrong in saying I don't like this. Maybe they have bigger plans of setting up Kyle versus Will. And if that's the case, I'll take back everything I said. This was meant to happen because those two men in a ring together will tear down the house. They train together. They're best friends. They know their movesets. And they just remind me of each other. They swag, they demeanor, everything. It's just on point. But that was the end of Dynamite. Hell of a show. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give tonight an 8.3. You know, they fell down from the 9s. I got to keep it real. There were a couple of segments I did not appreciate. The Nigel segment, that made no sense to me. I didn't like the makeshift tag team with Kyle and Will Ospreay just instantly being number one contenders. Those two things I didn't like. That's what brought it from an A to a B show, but this is still far away from where they used to be, getting D's and E's and F's and I's for just being incomplete and not even showing up. But hell of a show. A B is still good. Tony Khan, whoever is secretly writing this show now, maybe I'm giving Tony Khan the wrong credit. Whoever it is, I want you to look into my eyes and know I thank you, because now I'm getting quality wrestling almost every day of the week, and that's thanks to whoever you are. But next time you will see us will be Coach DTM with Talking Shh of the Week tomorrow, and then you will see the entire crew for the SmackDown post-show, the first ever SmackDown on not first ever, but the returning brand new SmackDown on USA Network. Plus, we will have the return of Roman Reigns. So that will be a hell of a post show. Not that I care about Roman Reigns, but Chuck does. You know he loves him. He's going to be spewing out the mouth all night about him. So if you like that type of content, you're going to get it this Saturday, post show, the Holy Shhh Podcast. But until then, y'all know who it is. It's your boy, ABE. And you've been tuned in to the Holy Shhh Podcast.
Media.